Hey, what's up? Ryuji here. Thank you for joining me. What I want to talk about today is how to figure out how to use your time. Now, I think this is such a crucial thing because every day of our lives, we have 24 hours. And what we decide to do with these 24 hours is so strongly going to determine who you end up being and what position you find yourself in later, that you better have a way to figure out what you're going to be doing with this damn time, right? Now, I used to listen to this guy, Earl Nightingale. He did cool audio tapes back in the 60s, I think. And one thing he would say is, he would describe life as a series of todays. He would say, today, it's today. After that, you have the day after that. Then you have the day after, the day after, the day after, and so on and so forth, basically until you die. And that's all your life is. It's just a series of days going on one after the other. And you yourself, all you ever have is today, because you're only living today. When you wake up tomorrow, guess what? It's going to be today all over again. And every day of your life, it's going to be today. Hence, all there ever is today. Your life is a series of todays until you die. And that's why it's so crucial to figure out, what I'm going to do today, because that literally is your life. Your life literally is what you do today, every day. All right, now how do you figure out what you're gonna do today? To me, a good place to start is to look at people you admire. Look at people that either you look at them and you're like, wow, that person is so cool, that person really inspires me. Well, look at how they relate to people, look at how they relate to themselves. They're smiling all the time, they seem so happy, that sort of a thing. Or look at people who are where you want to be eventually. Look at people who are in the positions, in the social positions or whatever positions that you want to find yourself in. And once you find these people, what you're going to do is you're going to look very specifically at what they're doing, and then you're going to go do that. And what they're doing divides itself in kind of like two parts. The first part is everything external, so the actual actions that they take. So for example, what is their morning routine? If they're an athlete, what's their workout routine? If they're a musician, how much do they practice? How do they practice? That sort of thing. Look at that. And on the other hand, look at their internal actions, so to speak. So what happens inside of them? How do they think, essentially? What kind of thoughts do they have? What kind of emotions do they have? What kind of emotions do they let affect them? How do they relate to different events that happen? How do they relate to failure, for example? Do they look at failure and be like, they complain, they blame people, they're just really negative about it? Or do they fail and look at that as a learning experience, embrace it as part of the journey, and just move on, right? You're gonna look at those kinds of things, how they relate to themselves, how they talk to themselves, Are they constantly telling themselves things like, you're not good enough, judging themselves, beating themselves up, stuff like that? Or are they talking themselves up, being like, wow, I'm so cool, this is so great, da-da-da-da-da, all this kind of stuff, right? Look at that. And once you figure out what they're doing both externally and internally, go do that. Because the thing is, if you look at someone and you look at where they're at, if you look at what they're doing and you go do these same things or similar things, chances are you'll get a similar result. Okay, because wherever you find yourself in life is largely dependent on the actions you take. Okay? And of course, this is not black and white. You might do the same things, achieve a different result. That's completely possible. But the point is, that's basically the extent to which you can control it, right? The extent to which you can control your life is your actions. You can't control all these external things that happen. You can try to, but much rather, you should control what you're doing because you actually have the full ability to do that. And okay, here's the thing. It's so easy to get caught up in this thing where, you look at people who are like way above you, or right now they're way above you, and you tell yourself, I'll never be there. I can't be there because that's just not who I am. I wasn't born with the right resources. I don't have the talent, so on and so forth, right? And, that might be true to some degree, and probably right now, I couldn't be an astronaut. I couldn't be like some famous actor, probably, no matter how hard I tried. But the point is, if I look at simple things, for example, when I was younger, I would always look at my father and I would see him, being such a social person. We would walk around some random part of town and random people would come say hi to him. Or he would know all the bus drivers. He would always joke around with people at the restaurant, stuff like that. And I always thought that was so cool, but I never thought that was me. But then I realized, if I go figure out kind of like what he's doing, how he's talking to these people, that kind of stuff, and I go practice a similar thing, I go practice my social skills, then maybe I could get there. And now I'm getting to the point where, I'm starting to do these things and, I'm not the best at them, but the point is I can get there, because we're not, no one's cut from a different cloth. I think it's important to understand that. No one's cut from a different cloth. What one man can do, another man can do, And of course, in absolute reality, that's not 100% true, but it's true enough that if you look at people that you admire and people who are in positions that you want to find yourselves in, and you do what they're doing, chances are you will achieve a similar result. Because look, you look at some famous actor, some famous musician, what is the media telling you nowadays? All you see is the glory. You just see the glow, the gold, the glitter, the stuff like that, right? You see people giving speeches at events, you see people walking down the red carpet, stuff like that, being on stage at concerts. That's what you see. You see them being on magazine covers, on TV, wherever it is. That's what you see. But what you don't see is the endless hours of work they've put into building that skill, building themselves up to be able to achieve the things that they achieved, to then get the fame and the glory and the gold and the glitter, right? You have to recognize that's not the full picture. Look at any successful person, any successful artist, and you will see how much freaking time they put into building that skill, building themselves up. These things, they don't happen overnight. You have to build these things daily. What am I doing today? What is my daily grind today? That's an expression I love using, like the daily grind. What is my daily grind today? What am I gonna do that's gonna eventually build up my life so that I am where I eventually wanna be? Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this. Really appreciate you guys being here. If you guys enjoyed, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Leave a like. Subscribe to this channel. That would really help me out. I'll see you all next time. Take care.